What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Booby Be Fishing. So we talked about doing the lily pad video. It's about to go down. Right behind me is the lily pad section of the pond. What we have tied on today is a nice little Guggen Mondo worm, all right? We're not bringing anything else. All I have brought today, one rod, fixed with braid, because we're not gonna break off on another 10-pound worm in the lily pads. I'm convinced that that fish last time was a 10-pound fish. We're not taking those risks. We're not taking those chances. So we've got the braid on. We've got our worms. I didn't bring any other baits. I've got the bait folder with my soft plastics. I've got the one rod. I have enough to where if we do break off our worm, we can retie a new Texas rig and we're gonna be ready to rock and roll. So let's hit to our verse of the day real quick. So today's verse of the day, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare, not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. So I've been going through some things in my personal life recently, and I've let the stresses get to me, and I had a breakdown, I don't know, maybe a weekend ago, and I was just feeling the weight of everything going on in my life. I was with my wife and my son, and the song Run to the Father was playing through my car. I couldn't hear it. I could just see it say Run to the Father. And I just began to cry, and I gave everything to the Lord. And then literally within 24 hours, everything that I had been worrying about was completely resolved, completely restored. And I just want you to remember that no matter what you're going through, the Lord has a plan for your life, and He has a plan for you to prosper. He's not wanting to harm you. Whatever you're going through, He can take you through it as long as you give it to Him. So don't forget that, because I recently have, and it's easy to happen, it's easy to do, to get caught up in life. Don't let that happen. Run to the Father in all that you do. So without further ado, let's get this stuff down to those lily pads and get some fish, boys. Let's go. Something just jumped right up at the front there. You can still see the wake. You see it? I got that one bite when I first threw in here. And nothing since then. There's one in the lily pads. Another self-releasing fish, guys. They must just be native to North Carolina. Decent, not really decent, but a fish. He is, golly. Oh, he's not as hot as I thought he was. See you, buddy. Back to the abyss. Well, we got at least one for you. And you can probably tell that size fish was hard to pull through those lily pads. So, if it's got any size, it's gonna be a little difficult, but it's fun. It's so much fun catching the fish like that. So we'll see what happens. There's big ones in here. I know that for a fact. And again, he was right out there where I said he was going to be, closer to the middle than he was up here on the edges. Not that they won't be on the edges. I just think that the water deepens up out there a little bit, which is why I think they're closer to the middle than they are here on the edges. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll throw another one out there. I would just hate to, again, I would hate to break off on a big fish and leave 10 feet of leader out there in its mouth for several reasons. I do know they kind of hang out right here too. The water level looks like it has maybe gotten a little bit higher. It's hard to say. But that's good. We want that water level to be a little bit higher. It allows us to get back in there a little bit more. Covers up some of the structure right here. Oh, how did that happen? That was insane. Oh yeah, boys. It's time to catch some fishies. Let's see if this rain turn these fish on, shall we? What if just first cast right here, right now, just what, blam! 8-pound fish. That would be so sick. Very first cast. It's nice and calm. The rain just, woke them up a little bit. It's got all the worms out now. Worms are starting to come out of nowhere. Fish are hungry. I just saw a big old bolt of lightning over there. I hope that storm's going that way. I got a good feeling about this evening. I think we're gonna get something nice. Bow, right on the edge of those lily pads. Oh, if I catch a fish right there, it's going to be so hard to get it through. Oh, bloop. One of my favorite, when you're throwing lily pads like this, one of my favorite things is that bloop that the worm makes when you're dragging it over a tall lily pad and it just falls into the water. That's also like a major bass call, They hear it and they're just a little curious. They just want to know what's going on. And then all of a sudden they see lunch and dinner and they're like, let me eat. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, there's a hook in my lip. And I'm like, oh, we got a fish. Basically, that's how that goes. Man, I thought we were done with the geese for the night. Bloop. Guys, hopefully you never have to see it firsthand, but I'm horrified of birds. That's a fish! Oh, I think it came off. Nope, it didn't come off. There you are, buddy. Thanks for biting my worm. You're a little bit tiny. You're a little bit tinier than I want you to be. Bro, I'm trying to help you, bro. I'm trying to help you. Are you done? You're not done? Are you done? Oh, bro. Tiny fish. Maybe the smallest one I've caught out here, but look at those shoulders on him. He's got big old shoulders. He's not really tummied up, but for a small fish, not bad. See you later, Bow. Thanks for biting. That's 2 lily pad fish. Go tell your mama. Go tell your mama. It's dinner time. Go tell her. I'm gonna keep throwing this in there until she comes and eats it. So that was one of those, like, that fish hit really soft, and it didn't feel any different than as it feels when you're just pulling it through the lilies. That's the one tough part. You really got to get a sense for what you're doing and feel. And it really is one of those things, like, the first time you do it, it's going to feel so weird. But the more and more you do it, the more and more you do get the feel for it. Another thing that I would recommend is sometimes you'll see, I've talked about letting line out, but you do want to do it too here, because sometimes when it goes back in, it'll pendulum towards you. So as I'm reeling it in and there's not much slack line on there, when it hits back into the water, I want it to fall right where it's at, or fall on the back side of where I've flipped it into. So I'll just let a little bit of line out so it falls more flat than coming back towards me, and it just allows for, you know, more water coverage. Two fish, not too bad, in a pretty short amount of time in these lily pads. We fought them both through. Both of them, I struggled a bit to get them through there, but we got them through. So this worm might be toast. I think what we're gonna do, that backside, as you can see, that other bank line, it's up much higher than over here. And so it's easier to see the gaps in the lily pads, where to throw at. Crap. And it looks like he cleared some of those shrubs because it was much more full. Yep, that worm is toasted. Okay, so let me show you guys a trick. What you can do. Now, I do want this a little bit bigger, but basically what happened is I tore through there. So it's never gonna sit right on there anymore. So what I'll do is I'll put my thumb where it's at. I'll bite off, and now I just lost, you know, a very little bit of that worm. So instead of getting a whole new worm on, just bite the tip off where you broke through, and then rethread it the same way that you would have. And boom, I'm back in the game, baby. Just like that. And now I'm letting line out because I backlashed like a garboon. So don't mind me. Hopefully a fish doesn't eat that worm while it's sitting out there. That would really be not good. The other thing with fishing lily pads, be patient. It's not like, if you're one of those people that you really don't like fishing slow, which, I mean, I don't mind it. I don't love to fish slow, especially when it's like summertime and all you've done is thrown Senkos and creatures and you're just doing nothing but dragging the bottom. Sometimes you just want to throw a crankbait. Sometimes you just want to throw a lipless. You want to throw a little chatterbait. You want to throw the whopper plopper around, or the buzzbait. I get it. But with this, fish lily pads slow. Yes, that's what I wanted to do. Fish them slow. Let them sit. Each time you get them through, like right there, I'm just going to let it sit now for a second. I'm not jiggling it. I'm not jerking it. I'm just letting it make a little bit of noise going into that water through those lily pads, and now I'm going to let it sit. I'm going to let it sit for a second. If nothing happens, now I'm going to start dragging it through there and get it through another gap. It is probably the slowest type of fishing that you can possibly do, but trust me, be patient, and see the fruits of your patience pay dividends with monster bass in the lily pads. It will be worth it, I assure you. Skinny, light, not good, no shoulders. That's a baby. I mean, look how skinny his little tail is. right here. He's got no thickness in there, not much shoulders, but pretty color. You love catching them regardless. That's number 3 on the day. I know that's not a lily pad fish, but what are you gonna do? See you, buddy. Thanks. Oh, I backlashed. Don't bite it, don't bite it, don't bite it, don't bite it.
I wonder if the GoPro can see how bad you backlashed.
It's not really backlash. There's too much braid on this reel, and I blame the guy at Bass Pro Shop for it, and I've been too lazy to take any off. Gosh, it's gonna get gulped. It's moving. My line's moving. It might be getting eat right now. That fish will be dead too, because it's gonna be gut hooked. I need to take some of this braid off because it's got way too much on it, and that's why what keeps happening is happening.
How do you bring that Bass Pro Shop?
Yeah, he lined it. Nothing. It's funny, I forgot what reel it was. I think it was my Corrado 200 MGL. I had just bought it for the boat specifically so I could deep crank with it. And I went in there. I don't even remember if I put braid on it or not. I don't think I did. And I took the line up there to get it spooled, and he asked me if I wanted backer, and I was like, yeah. He was like, how much? And I was like, I don't really know, 10, 15 yards. He's like, okay. And then he was like, how much line do you want? And I said, well, it's that 250s, and I don't, like, this is my first 250. I don't know how much do you think you can get on there? And I had like 150 yards of whatever I had. And I said, do you think you'll be able to get all 150 of this on there? I said, I don't think that you're gonna. And he was like, it was braid. And he was like, oh yeah. He said, definitely. I was like, are you sure? Because I don't know. And he was like, matter of fact, I don't think you got enough line. And I was like, whoa, what? You don't think I got enough? And he was like, no, I'd go with 300 and you can just take whatever's left. And I was like, I don't think so, dude. And I said, let's go with the 150. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'm so confident that if this 150 isn't enough line, I'll take all of it off and I'll buy 300 yards and I'll pay for both sets of line. And he's like, you got yourself a deal. And I was like, all right, bet. I'll be back in 20 minutes. I missed again. They're just playing with it. Yep. There used to be a tail on that, guys. As you can see, there is no longer. Those dirty rascals. So I go back after enough time that he could have got me lined up, and I could just tell him the look of his eye what he was going to say to me. And I was like, so what are we looking like? And he, like, as casually as could be, like, we didn't just have that huge discussion about how much line that reel could take. He was like, yeah, actually, you got a little bit of line left over. I said, no shot. I got line left over. And I was like, good thing I didn't buy the extra 150 yards you told me to buy. And he was like, yeah, man, you were right. And I was like, it's all love here, man. I said, I did a little bit of research on it, and so I had an assumption of how much. And I was like, but quite frankly, like, if that would have been a different customer and if they were like, okay, I'll go with your 300, like, now you've got a really upset customer. And I was like, so if you're telling people that, like, you better be confident in what you're telling them. And he was like, yeah. But it was hilarious.
Turtle catch, turtle catch.
Bro.
Turtle catch.
Oh my goodness.
What is that, 4 times you missed a fish?
They're tiny, man. They're just tiny. But they're starting to bite. That's, yeah, like you said, in the last like 3 or 4 casts, I've been bit every time. So it might be time to go, continue doing what I said I was going to do in this video. And that's lily pad fishing. Out there in the middle, that's the first one I've caught out there. Decent. Decent. That's the best one. All right, I told you guys, and look at that hook set. We
Run, little fish.
Look at that hook set. Jumps immediately off of the hook set. All right, well, I was going to weigh it for you guys. I suck at everything.
Fish have different plans.
Don't suck at everything. That's the best one we've caught today, too, like, by far. Dang it. What is that? Is that 3 or is that 4?
4.
I was literally just, I wasn't even really, didn't even mean to, like, I was casting to get my line back fresh. It's the only reason I cast it out that far. No, I did that to make sure to see if my DC was DCing, because I hadn't heard it in a while.
Yeah,
That's the only reason I did that. I can't believe I caught a fish out there. That was wild. I'm about to throw again out there, I think. That was wild. These fish is feisty out here. Zap! He hit that like at the surface, like almost when it hit the water. Like that didn't really sink at all.
He wanted it.
Yeah, he was hungry. I must have landed it on its head. Which is a W, kapna. Dang it, man. Dang it. I don't know if it was good.
I mean, it seemed good the way it bent your rod like that.
Yeah.
Unless it was just fighting through the lily pads too.
It could have been. Could have just straight been a lily pad. I don't think so, though, because I felt the vibration.
If that was a lily pad, then it got you good.
Yeah. I don't think it was. I felt the rod tip vibrate like it had a fish.
Something
shaking
not
it.
so long ago jumped over there in that corner.
Yeah, I know. I saw it, too. Oh, that's a good fish. That is a good fish. Come, get through there. Oh. That was a fish, 1,000%.
Oh, I thought you broke off.
Nope.
You just got a really cool worm.
Yep.
Imagine that was an electric fence and it just got you, bro.
It couldn't be any worse than it is right now.
Electrocuted.
Yeah.
It can definitely get worse.
No. Heartbreaking. We're gonna get something colorful on here just because I'm curious. I kind of want to go with this straight white, but I do have these trick worms in here, I think. Yeah. Nope, those aren't trick worms. There are trick worms right there. It's a little bit skinnier. I'm gonna do it. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. See, that's the beauty of fishing, is you can try different things. We haven't got a bite in a while. These are like a natural color with a chartreuse trail. It's gonna slim down the presentation a little bit. It'll get bit by a 10-pounder just the same. It'll get bit by a half-ouncer. So I'm gonna throw a couple of these in my pocket, throw it out there and see what happens. I'm curious. I mean, you know, I'm just curious. Let's see. Let's see. Because when you're not catching fish, what's the worst that can happen? You just keep not catching fish. You know? You know? Let's see. Let's go. We're gonna throw this out there. See what happens. Watch first cast. Something's gonna mollywop it. The thing with this, throwing it in these lily pads, which I am going to do, but it's much, much lighter than those Mondo worms and the bigger worms I had tied on. And so I don't know if it's gonna get down through those thick weeds or those thick stems. We're gonna try though. We're gonna see what happens. We are gonna see what happens. I don't know. Oh, it did get bit. First cast, like I said. Let's let it sit for a second, see if it comes back. Oh, it came back. Little guy. I yeeted him up out of the water. Stop, bro.
Is that self-releasing technology about to kick in again?
No, I got him. That is the smallest fish of the day. But you wanted me, I told you the next fish I caught, I was gonna weigh. This fish right here weighs 5 ounces. Let's see how close I am.
Let's say 8. I'm just saying 8.
I don't even know if it should weigh it, no matter what.
It can't weigh 5 ounces?
It can weigh anything, but let's see. What'd I say? I said 5?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, I'm sticking with 5.
I got 8.
The real thing is, am I going to be able to even get the fish grippers in its mouth? All right. All right, we're zeroed out. Six ounces. I was an ounce off. And I think, no, we weighed the 3-pounder at the farm that you didn't get because you're garbage.
Hey, it's on my phone.
So I was within an ounce, just to prove to you that I relatively know what I'm talking about. So I wish I could find out from you guys in the real moment right now whether you want me to just keep throwing those out for the last 30 minutes and catching those tiny ones that are chilling out there, or if we should go over to these lily pads and see if we can get a monster to munch it.
It is supposed to be a lily pad video.
You're right.
You've caught half of your fish out here.
You're right. Yeah, literally half. Three in the lily pads? 3 out?
2 in the lily pads, 3 out here.
So over half.
Yeah.
5 fish is a decent evening though.
Not when they're all 5 ounces.
Hey, listen. I've said it once. I'm going to say it 1,000 times on this channel. A fish is a fish. You already know. A fish is a fish. And that was the first cast with that natural colored trick worm with the chartreuse shell. The very first cast. It got hit. I let it sit for a second. It came back and hit it again. And I'm not missing twice in a row. I ain't letting it happen.
You missed, what, 4 casts in a row over there?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't... That fish hit the worm on the same cast. That's what I mean. That is a decent fish. Yep. Let's go, baby. And I gut hooked him. I really want to get him back in the water. He's probably, I don't know, decent fish. We knew that they were in there. He's probably 1.5 pounds-ish. I'm not going to weigh him because he's bleeding a little bit, and I want to get him back in the water. So, come on, buddy. Other way. Come on, you're all right. Come on. Yeah. Kick. There he goes. Yeah, he's gonna be all right. Yeah. Well, best fish of the day. Yeah, they're hitting now. They're hitting. It's right at sunset. Sun's about done. I switched to that natural colored trick worm with the chartreuse tail, and we're getting blown up. I just We just released that one. My GoPro had just ran out of battery. I forgot and didn't switch batteries. And so we got the very end of that catch. The fish hit it really lightly, so we didn't get a weight on him. I gut hooked him just a little bit. He swam off fine, and he's back in his lily pad home. But we're getting bites. We probably have maybe 20 minutes left of fishing before it's too dark. So I'm gonna try to see if we can't get on a biggin before we run out of time here. Let's get on that. That last one was probably 1.5 pounds, I guess. Let's get a 3-pounder here before we go.
Hopefully.
Or let's get a 5-pluser. So my PB is 6 pounds, 12 ounces, but that's the only fish. That's the only fish over 5 pounds I've ever caught. So I would still be like wildly excited to catch a 5-pounder. Want to catch another 5-pounder. I've caught some very close. The fish that we caught on my second video, I think it was what was it? I think it was 415. So it was right at 5 pounds. But you know, it wasn't 5 pounds. So we're out here.
312.
312?
If I remember correctly. That's the morning one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 312 or something.
Okay, 312. All right. So yeah. So I've caught some in that 3 to 4 range, 4.5. We still need another 5-pounder. So let's see if we can't get it tonight. So I don't want to gut hook another big fish, and so I did probably set that hook a little bit too early, but I don't want to hurt another big fish. I want them to stay big out here and grow, and so I need to calm down a little bit and still let them eat and trust the process, trust my hook set, trust what I do. It's one of those things that it's just going to happen when you fish. You're going to gut hook fish. It doesn't matter how good of a fisherman you are. There's going to be times where they don't, especially fishing and stuff like this, where they get it and it just feels normal, like you're dragging it through the lily pads. It's just going to happen. You don't like when it happens. You know, I truly love these animals. I love fish. I think that they're beautiful. I think that they're incredibly designed. I think God did a spectacular job on them. I have a heart for them. I don't ever want to see any of them hurt or in pain. And I especially don't want to see them floating because of something that I did. So I'm rightfully a little skittish pulling the trigger right now on the hook sets. That could be a good spot that I just casted through there.
This way.
Got him.
It's a fishy.
That's the one that I was targeting. I'm pretty sure. Would you, bro? These fish are wildin'. You ain't self-releasing on me, tiny one, but feisty. These fish in here are so, they're feisty fish. What is that, 6?
Yeah.
7? 6? Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the bite. See you later. Right back into his home. So we watched that one. I literally watched him jump out right here on the edge. And then I stayed back and cast it a little bit farther back and just threw right at the edge where he was. Sure enough, he came and gulped it. He gobbled it up. And I got him in. We had a good day. We had a good day. Sun's going down. We don't have much more time. Didn't catch the 5-pounder we were looking for. We didn't catch the big one, the ginondo. We weighed a couple fish. We got one decent one. And we caught a decent amount of fish. I think 3 or 4 in the lily pads here.
I'd make your foot in the lily pads. No, 3. No.
How about an outro fish, guys? How about an outro fish, guys? How about that? How about one more for the road? You spin my head right round. Sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to rip you around like that. I did mean to catch you, so don't get that twisted. I didn't mean to spin you around like that, though. Another real tiny one. Not the size we're looking for. We're looking for his mom. But if they're still biting, let's see if we can get mom real quick.